that I can fund the IRA LLC.
That's a cash buyer with loan money to the.
That's one strategy that can be used.
50% owner too.
Right. And so then when the profits come in, we divide them up 50-50. I would deal with my tax consequences based on its cash out of pocket, so then capital gains or what have you, yours is going back in your IRA, no tax.
But you have to be entitled to the property. You have all the investors equal.
Yes, that's one way to do it. We can all go on title together as 50-50 owner, or if I just do a loan to his IRA, he can use the IRA LLC to purchase the property 100%, and then I get paid back to a promissory note. So that's another way. We have clients that do that as well, that are act specifically as hard money lenders and just lend from their IRA. So they're
the IRA LLC has to have a 30% down.
only if you're getting an IRA mortgage going through a lender. But if you and I work together and you give me half of money, I don't have to use 30% down. I can buy the property free and clear. So a couple different ways to approach it. Dan?
On that Michael and Alana LLC that I showed,
Yes.
that tax ID had to be equity trust tax ID. On something like this, are you using your own tax ID, or you have to use your host or your?
LLC is a corporation. Has its
Your
own tax.
Yes, your own.
Your own.
And I'll give an example why. I'll show you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a story I'd love to share about that.
Okay.
Wait,
And-
so do that again? Because the corporation has its own tax.
Right.
The corporation has a bank account, it has its own EIN.
Right.
So then why is Dan using his own taxes?
Well,
social.
Part of that was how the IRA LLC was structured, and I think it was probably more equity trust, making sure that you were dealing strictly with them. And I wanted to make sure this didn't happen, because you don't want to deal with different investors and not be roped into one company that they holding the IRA
I
finance.
couldn't have asked you for a more perfect point to bring this up.
Thank you.
Because this is exactly what I want to talk about
Okay.
here. Thank you so much, Dan. It's almost like we're in sync here, right? At the top, this icon, this graphic represents your traditional IRA, where your custodian, where your money currently is at a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab. From there, we help you to roll the money over into your IRA, your self-directed IRA, the custodian, and then you're going to fund your bank account, the business checking account, and that gives you checkbook control. Now, the story I'd like to share here is this. We had a client who decided that he was going to invest right from his self-directed custodian, which would be some of these that allow you to purchase property. Now, one of his properties was vacant, and the city tried to send him a letter that said, board up the windows and cut the grass, basic cosmetic stuff to fix it. If you own property, you know, you've seen these letters from the city, it's no big deal. And if you don't do it in this time frame, you'll get a fine. Okay? Because he purchased the property directly from the self-directed custodian, and he didn't at that time have an IRA LLC, who do you think went on title?
Custodian.
The custodian. First of all, you have to get permission from the custodian to do the deal, the transaction, and if they approve it, they go on title. What do you think the custodian did when they got this letter from the city?
They pitched it.
Right? Tossed it. It was a little more severe. They actually viewed this situation as, or this client now, as a liability, and they resigned as custodian of this account.
Huh. That's severe.
Yeah. Yeah. So he spent weeks dealing with trying to resolve this, and eventually he got in touch with a networking group, a real estate networking group. They gave him our number, he called us, and we got him set up with checkbook control, and literally resolved all of this in a day and a half. Because to board up windows and get the grass cut is not something that should take weeks. We made a few phone calls Saturday morning, by Sunday afternoon it was done. He had the checkbook in hand. That's it. So that's one example. When you're buying directly from a custodian, they have to approve it, and then they go on title. So having an IRA LLC and set up the correct way with certain custodians will help you to avoid that, so that your entity goes on title.
So there's actually no such thing as an IRA LLC in the tax code then. You just have a self-directed IRA that happens to be owned by an LLC.
You have a self-directed IRA that is owned by, that owns an IRA LLC. Yes.
Yeah. So, but like if you so an IRA LLC is not actually something in the tax code as an entity.
As an entity,
As a thing.
specifically, it'll be an LLC, but the way in which it's structured is allows it to be owned by your IRA.
And not taxable and no penalties when you move it over. It's
Correct.
free. There's
Correct.
no one-time penalty to do so.
It seems like it would depend on whether it was funded by a Roth or a traditional.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And the reason is, the way it's set up, you're not pulling the money out, you're not withdrawing the money, it's an investment. So it's just like if you used a Roth or a traditional, you went out and bought some stock. You don't pay tax because you've invested in that stock. So it's the same thing, you're investing in this LLC.
What if you make a profit after you invest in whatever the commodity is, and then is the profit, the difference taxable?
It goes right back into your,
Until you retire.
yes.
You take it out when you retire and it's Roth, it is. You take it out when you retire, it's not a Roth, it isn't. It's already been taxed on it, put it in.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Could you take money and put it back into your regular IRA and move it from your regular IRA back into this IRA LLC at any time if you wanted to?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Of course, the bank transaction fees, wire fee, whatever that $25 is or whatever. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can add money throughout. So I have clients that call me and, oh, I can't find my paperwork. I want to go ahead and put my $5,000 for this year. Okay. Send them the forms and they go ahead and deposit another $5,000. You don't have to continue to make those deposits if you're growing your account, but it is an option. You can do it.
Are you familiar with Laughlin Associates? They create some of the same stuff.
I think I've heard the name, but
Yeah, I mean, he recommended that I get an LLC, a standard LLC.
okay.
And I'm just sitting here wondering, why aren't they talking about IRA LLCs in the fashion that you are? They either don't know.
It doesn't sound like
There,
Yeah.
there are some people that don't know, or some people that just it's not their thing. It's not their
Yeah,
forte.
okay.
They would rather steer you in another direction.
Interesting.
Can you have Roth money, traditional money, and SEP money in the same LLC?
Yep. Now it's up to you on how properly identifying where that money is from helps when you invest it. So that if I buy a property, and I'll keep it simple, $100,000 property, and I use $50,000 from my Roth and $50,000 from a traditional, when I make money on that, I want to make sure that it's down the middle split, because this Roth money, I'm not paying any more tax on it. But the traditional, I know that I have to, so you want to make sure that you keep it nice and clean. But yes, we have clients that will combine various different accounts. Even if you work with someone else's retirement account, then they would just be very specific and clear on how that was funded. Oh, I use my traditional money for that.
What do you mean by traditional? You mean your regular 401k?
Your pre-tax money. So when you retire and go to pull that out, you know you have to pay tax on that. So if I have $100,000 pre-tax money and $100,000 post-tax money, I want to use all of my post-tax money, because all the profit that's going in there is tax-free. When I'm of age to retire, when I can pull that out, that's tax-free. I'll never pay tax on that. Whereas I know with this other account, eventually I will have to. I can put that off for a while, but there are also ways that you can sort of minimize how much tax you have to pay. If it's set up properly, then there are ways that you can minimize some of that exposure.
So any self-directed IRA, that with no matter who the custodian is legally allowed to create their own LLC.
Legally, yes. Some of them will not. Some of them just say, no, we won't do it.
Some of the custodians won't do it.
Right. They won't allow it. So you can find a self-directed custodian on your own and go, okay, great, I'm with this company. I want to get checkbook control. Oh, we don't do that.
Does Equity Trust do it?
Not in the way that we set it up.
I'm sure Fidelity does.
No.
But then again, it's not an issue, because if Equity Trust will not, you're not funding, you're just rolling it over. So
Exactly.
you take some out of Equity Trust and go put it in a custodian that will.
Yes.
And you don't have to take it all out either.
Exactly.
Nope.
You can specify how much you want to roll over. You can do 100% of it. We have clients that say, I want to just try it out. I'm going to buy 1 or 2 properties. Let me just move $100,000 right now. Okay.
So
No penalties.
You
Just
can
rolling it over.
split your IRA up to a bunch of different custodians.
Yep. Now, of course, you have custodial fees that you'll be paying on each one. So I sort of advise against that unless there's a specific reason why. But yeah, it can be done. Yes. Dan, did you have one?
Yeah, the issues of the SAFE Act and the SEC and doing transactions that are considered private loans. Is there anything that you can speak about that as far as being careful about what you do and how you manage that?
What I always suggest is I stick to the avoid list from the IRS.
Mhm.
Other than that, if you keep your paperwork and you refer to a CPA who's familiar with IRA LLCs, and there are not that many, we have referrals that we can give you that are more specifically related to, they know the codes or they know IRA LLCs. But yeah, all of that stuff can be done.
And do you have a lawyer working for your corporation or that you associate with for your corporation to
Yes.
back up this stuff in
Yes.
case you run into a problem?
Yes.
Okay.
All of this, everything that we do has to go through a custodian anyway.
Okay.
So, and the custodians are all IRS approved and FDIC insured, and it's just like a Fidelity or an equity trust, so to say. So they have to report to the IRS every year.
Okay.
And so our product would never be able to have their stamp on it, their stamp of approval, if we weren't in compliance as well. And every order that we receive for an IRA LLC is checked. We go through an entire checklist to make sure that it is IRS compliant before we issue the product.
Okay, and is a product based out of California or could it be Nevada?
Anywhere.
Doesn't matter.
Anywhere. You can set up your IRA LLC in any state and own property or have investments in any state. So you want to set up in Nevada, but you want to purchase in Florida. You want to purchase in Arizona. Happens all the time.
AJ, same question I asked originally. This has been around for 16 years. Why am I just hearing it now?
I guess the education out there, people are not spreading the word as much. I've been around for, I didn't know about this, well, when I started, actually 96, 99, I started in 99, and this, they had IRA LLCs, I had no idea. I joined up with Entrust at the time because I thought that was the best thing I could do, and I started investing in real estate from my Entrust account. It was great because it did what I wanted it to do, but I wasn't familiar with IRA LLCs that early on.
Well, LLCs didn't exist 16 years ago. So if you wanted to do it before, you can't form an S corp because it passed through taxation, which means you have to form a C corp, which is a gigantic pain in the ass, and probably wouldn't be worth it.
But the big turning point in 96, at that point, when you had the case of Swanson versus the commissioner, there may have been people just afraid to do it at that point because they're looking at, oh, the IRS is going after this guy because he's using his retirement account to start to purchase assets, real estate, and so forth.
What was his entity that he was using?
It was the IRA LLC. And that's what the IRS said, no, that's unacceptable. And when they went to court and he won, ever since then, it's starting to take off, but unfortunately it's not as quick as I would like to see it, but it is. And I've worked with real estate network groups. We went to Arizona and various other states, and I've called around the country, and I'd say 98% of the people that I talk to have no idea what an IRA LLC is.
And in the past, if you're not using an IRA LLC and you were looking to do a real estate transaction, you had to have the approval of your custodian.
Yes. Yes. Which is that whole example there.
Hey, do you ever
Yes.
SEPs and simples and stuff? That's okay?
Yeah.
And so then if you used whatever, say a traditional IRA money to buy a property outright through the IRA LLC, and then you take a second against the outright purchase and purchase another property with that, the second is now a traditional loan against the property in pre-tax dollars. Can you do that, or will all the lenders just completely balk at that?
Not sure if a lender will do that. I know the lenders we work with, that even the lenders that will do non-recourse loans and provide an IRA mortgage still might have issues with that. Yeah, yeah. Makes sense, sounds great, but will people be willing to do it? All right, a couple more slides, I think, and then almost finish here, and then we'll just free for all with the question and answer. The benefits of having an IRA LLC, at the top of the list, checkbook control. I think that's the most important thing when you're doing a deal or a transaction, having control over your deal. For me, that's number one. Litigation protection. The IRA LLC will provide an additional layer of asset protection, and because the assets are ultimately owned by your IRA, they're outside of the scope of credit or lawsuits. And the ability to invest without getting permission from your custodian. Because if you go directly from the self-directed custodian, they have to approve each transaction, each deal. And then lower custodial fees.